Alright, let's talk about it, Inquisitors. Now, we're in the Season of Judgement, 40k Warhammer, Inquisitor Martyr. It's a great looter, dungeon crawler, combat class building, game as Diablo or Path of Exile would be. Now, if you already know that, great. If you don't know that, this game is one to keep your eye on. Right now, we're looking at me play what you would call the Void Crusades, which is a great source of in-game content that you get to play around with these tarot cards to add some difficulty levels and change how the game plays. But that's not exactly why we're here. We're here to talk about the Season of Judgement. Let's get into it a little bit more. Now, this brought me back to the game. This Season of Judgement had some really cool mechanics that I really wanted to play in, and there were a lot of quality of life fixes. So, some things that we were annoyed by in the previous season, or just the base game itself, have been resolved, and we're going to get into that a little bit later as we go through the video. Now, let's talk about the Season of Judgement and the basic mechanics. So you're going to have the Emperor's Judgment. Now, what this is a buff that grants all kinds of movement speed and bonus damage. It stacks around 100 times, depending on how well you're doing, right? Are you mobbing them out? The more you kill, the more you get, right? So while the buff is active, you'll mark enemies with bolts of judgment. You'll see them glow with this little golden circle around them, and if you can immediately destroy them, it'll like kind of make them explode for AoE damage, right? So when you defeat them, they'll explode and deal damage again with the Emperor's Judgment. If they're not killed within that time, though, it'll make them tougher. They'll turn purple, and then they'll be able to kind of deal more damage. So you have to make sure that you kind of spot out these guys that are getting the little golden glow, take them out as quickly as possible in order to get the maximum bonus out of that. Now, that's not all that they've added. They've got some seasonal missions as well. So the more of these marked enemies you defeat and destroy, the more you go into this little bitty, it's kind of like a canister that you would consider. The more you destroy, you fill up this canister. And when you do it, you're going to get a mission. Now, what's cool about this is you don't have to immediately do this mission. You can wait and do this mission afterwards and level it up a little bit. And one of my favorite things is that after you complete each mission, it's going to tell you that whether or not you leveled up your mission. So I went on for about 6 or 7 runs. I leveled it up. It ended up getting about 6 levels higher than my character's base level, which made it quite tough. But very rewarding by the end of it. So as you're doing your Void Crusades, as you're doing your side missions, you're going to be leveling up this main boss mission that you get to do that still randomizes in purges or hunts or whatever the case may be. But it's just a chance to fight a bigger boss that offers you better loot near the end game. And it's a higher quality of loot too. So that's one thing to always keep in mind is loot, but the quality of loot makes the world of difference, right? Oh, and if you guys haven't already hit that like button and subscribe button, make sure you do that. I'm a big Inquisitor Martyr fan. I love motocross, and there's some other content that you'll see on the channel. Anyway, let's get back to some of the major changes that they brought into the game. So they've redesigned the mission UI so that it works better. It's more fluid. Before it wasn't terrible before, but now it's just more fluid. The combat GUI has been updated as well. They've switched their dedicated server, so you're seeing it run a lot smoother when you're playing on the servers. Now I have ran into some issues on the new servers. However, it's a lot better than I remember before. They are going to be doing some back-end transfers as well to help with that during the season, so you may see some days it doesn't work as smooth as anticipated. Along with that, there were a lot of bug fixes. Some of the bug fixes you probably won't even notice, right? Maybe it's just typos, maybe it's just minor bugs within the map that you never even ran into. So there's bug fixes, and there's a lot of balances. Now, what I'm going to do with the balances is I will tag those in the description. So if you want to look at all the balances within the game, you are more than welcome to do so. Aside from that, just your quality of life, man. Just, quality of life things where there's just a smoothness of how it plays, how it feels. Challenge rewards windows now states which challenge you completed, which is, in my honest opinion, a quality of life thing. You don't have to keep checking back to the season challenge list to see what did I do, what did I complete. It's going to pop up a message to let you know. Now, again, as I always say, 40k Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr should be on top of the leaderboards when it comes to these types of games, right? You've got Diablo, you've got Path of Exile, you've got so many games that are outshining this one in the way that it is, even though it's so fun and it's still being worked on. last time I checked, there was only like 600 live players. So we need more of that. I need you guys to get in on this game. I'm going to drop the link for Steam so you can buy it and we can play together or whatever. I don't even care. Just Inquisitor Martyr, guys. Give 40K a chance.